Welcome, welcome.
Hola, papi. Ven y escucha otro episodio del Lab.
Yep, that's right, folks. You made the journey back here. Welcome to the Lab Podcast, the official law-abiding biker podcast. You know what? We talk about everything here. Oh, just to name a few. I don't know, ride reviews, equipment reviews, motorcycle laws and issues. Oh yeah, I could name a bunch. And so much more. This podcast is for any law-abiding motorcycle enthusiast. That's right, we are the motorcycle majority, the big MM, the 99%ers, folks. Yeah, get ready, put your kickstands up, roll the throttle back, and hang on as we come at you with another Lab podcast. All right, folks, we will get right into it today. This is Ryan Erlacher, your host of the Law Abiding Biker Podcast, and your high-tech redneck. Yep, had to say it myself today, folks. I am alone in the studio. That is okay, though. There's a reason for that. Actually, tomorrow night, we'll be recording a couple episodes with Lurch and LD, but tonight I'm recording one, and I had a very special guest on, so there was no need for co-hosts. Do want to make a couple small announcements. I guess first, I would like to thank all of you for all the support we've had in 2013 and as we move into 2014 here. It's been overwhelming. We appreciate it. We're looking forward, obviously, to a really great year. So with that, I guess I will thank a couple donations. A couple people have made donations. If you want to donate and support what we're doing and keep the content coming your way, we're so appreciative of those donations. First is Walter Durya, and I hope I'm not mutilating that. Walter Durya, Durya, from Federal Way, Washington, donated. Thank you very much to Walter for donating. And second, we have Chris Bybee from Estacada, Oregon. And he has donated before, and Chris has been a supporter of the show, and so we appreciate it. Chris, thank you so much. Thanks to both of you for donating, and of course, in some other episodes, we will mention some other people that have donated. So yeah, keep them coming, guys. We do appreciate it, and it will we'll keep the content, the videos, and all that stuff coming your way, the podcasts. Yeah. So also, just a reminder, we do have a Lab Podcast phone number, and that is 509-731-3548. You can leave a voicemail directly on a phone. Just call that number, and we may play it on a podcast. Ask us your questions, send us your feedback. Of course, don't forget, you can also do a computer voicemail, which you've heard on many past episodes, and that is lawabidingbiker.com/voice message or /voicemail or /contact. Any of those will get you to where you can leave a voicemail. And of course, just to leave an email is /contact. All right, guys. Yeah. Also, we are going on, and I'm not looking at it right now. Probably getting close to 1,000 likes on our Facebook page. So thank you very much for that. And you can just go to lawabidingbiker.com /Facebook if you want to hook up with us, /Twitter, /Instagram, /Google Plus, any of those social media platforms. You can certainly hook up with us, and I've made it really easy with the links. Just lawabidingbiker.com / and then the social network. So yeah, keep them coming. Let's get that Facebook page over 1,000 likes here soon, and appreciate for all that support. I do have a new free video out that I put out. Actually, it's been out for a little while, but it's the first time I've got to mention it on a podcast. So I will be doing that right now. And that is the new free video, how to remove and install or remove/install Harley Davidson front fairing speakers. And again, that is a free, also lawabidingbiker.com /YouTube is you can get to my YouTube channel. And that is a free video. It's getting a lot of hits and guys are liking it. And if you want to directly go to that, there's also a small blog with it. And again, a free front outer fairing removal. Oh, actually, I apologize. Before you watch that, front fairing speakers, so how to remove those, you'll probably want to hit up my free tutorial video on how to remove the outer fairing, because you'll need to remove your front outer fairing on your Harley before you remove those front fairing speakers. So here's the 2 videos. Jot them down, make a mental note. First one you want to watch is lawabidingbiker.com/outer fairing. That'll teach you how to remove the outer fairing, and then / front fairing speakers. Those are direct links that will get you right to those videos. And hope you're enjoying them. And like I say, a lot of good feedback on them. Also, want to announce really quick, I also have, of course, I have the for sale videos, lawabidingbiker.com/buy videos. But I did put out a new one, and it has been selling, and people like it. It was based off my first boom box, the Harley Davidson boom box infotainment system that's coming on the new Harley Davidson. It's really a computer on the motorcycle, and it takes some know-how. There are hardly any instructions out there. The instructions Harley sends with you are terrible at best. And so I decided to make that original video, which was lawabidingbiker.com/boombox. And that's a complete guide on how to operate. It's a video, tutorial video. I believe, if I remember, it's about 55 minutes long. And man, guys are really liking that video. It walks you through step by step without skipping any steps on how to operate your new boombox infotainment system, along with how to pair Bluetooth devices and so forth. Like I say, there are no real good instructions out there, so check that video out. So this other video is, I guess you could kind of say, a sequel to that. A lot of guys were requesting it, and I couldn't put it in the first video because it would have been like a 3-hour video. So I had to split it up, and I worked really hard. And I put out another, both recording it and editing it and getting it out so that it is for purchase. And that is the new Harley Davidson Boombox infotainment software update and map update. And like I say, the Boombox system is a computer, guys, and it needs to be treated as such, which includes, just like your smartphones, your iPhones, your Androids, whatever, they need regular software updates, operating system software updates. Well, just like those, the phones, so does the boombox system. And let me tell you, when I tell you this, there are really no good instructions out there on this whatsoever. It is a mess for most people. And I will get into this in another podcast with the guys a little bit more. We'll talk about this. I have a really special guest in an interview I want to get to. But I did want to let you know that this is out there, and it's lawabidingbiker.com/boombox software. So the first one is Boombox, and the software update is Boombox software. And let me tell you, I spent a ton of time researching and communicating and trying to get all that I needed to teach you how and find the correct links and the pages. And like I said, it's a mess. I'll get more to you later on another podcast where we'll dive a little deeper into this little issue where I believe Harley put the cart before the horse a little bit, and they weren't quite prepared for this. But I nailed it down, and I have video screenshots. I basically recorded my computer screen and walk you through both what to do on your computer. Then we go back out to the bike, and I walk you through what to do at the bike. Let me tell you, if you get this video, and I can't remember how long this one, I want to say it's about 45 minutes, but this Boombox software update, you will not be disappointed. Man, the guys that have emailed me back said, thank you, because I will tell you, to figure all this out, it took me at least 8 hours to finally track everything down and over a period of time. And then I put everything together for you guys. And like I say, nailed it down in a how-to video, step by step. Like I said, from computer to motorcycle, back to computer. I even throw in a little something extra in that video if you get it. And that's how to get your ride planner maps. If you Harley Davidson ride planner, and you can get your maps and install them right into your boombox system. Whole bunch. I'm not going to waste your time with that. Right now, like I say, I want to get to this interview, but know that it is out there. It is for sale, and check it out. And also, like I always say, by purchasing those videos, you're also supporting this podcast. So if you look at it that way, you're supporting us, and you're also getting something in return. So check the free video and the new for purchase video out. I do want to, let me bump down here. I do want to do one quick email, and then we'll get right into the interview. It is actually a comment right on our website. And again, you guys can comment right on the website on any of our podcast episodes or any of our blogs. There's commenting at the bottom, and we really appreciate you guys getting going. We really want it to be a forum for all law-abiding bikers. But again, this was via a comment on the website, and it was referenced my Dakota Shield review, if you guys remember that. And that was over the windshield from Dakota Shields. And anyways, he apparently watched the video, read the blog, and that's at lawabidingbiker.com/Dakota Shield. And I did that some time ago, but obviously all my blogs and videos are still up there, and that video is still available. John Anderson is his name. And John Anderson doesn't say where he's from here on the comment, but he says, what's up? I have commented on YouTube video and message you guys on Facebook, but not sure if you will get them. So I decided to try here. He's referring to right on the website. I got a 7-inch Dakota Shield, love it, but it seems to not want to form to my outer fairing, and it is causing a gap between the fairing and windshield. To me, it looks like water could get into my electrical. I got a 2,500 mile ride coming up, and not wanting to worry about that 2013 Street Glide. Any advice would be great. Thanks. And so yeah, what he's referring to is sometimes, and it's not just Dakota Shield, even some aftermarket windshields and stuff, they get where, and I don't know if it's the bolts are off a little bit or what, but you will, and you'll get a little gap in between that windshield and your plastic fairing. And even if it's not completely noticeable, there's still going to be a little gap there, and it's normal. Trust me, I've even had an aftermarket Harley, not an aftermarket, but a non-stock Harley windshield, and it had just a little bit of gap. It's plastic up there, and stuff can get moved around a little bit. It settles in after a while. But here's my response. Thanks for commenting, John. And I will tell you guys this. Sorry, but Facebook email is the last one to get checked. And let me pause there, guys. I'm just telling you, I love the interaction on the Facebook page, but I have so many different things to check. Really, if you want stuff on the podcast, you want it answered in a reasonable time, it's got to be lawabidingbiker.com/contact if you're going to do an email, or / voicemail or voice message, or any of those if you want to leave a voice message. Those are the things that get checked first, and second would be website comments. I do check those too, and I have to monitor those. So, and I told him, I said, comments here and direct emails via our contact form get checked first. Anyways, on the Dakota Shield, you don't have to worry about the gap. Many aftermarket and even some Harley windshields create a gap. Even without a visible gap, water can get down inside the fairing, which it does every time you wash it or ride it in the rain. Those components, including electrical, inside the fairing are made to withstand moisture, cold, hot, etc. Harley knows water and much moisture will get in there and make some to withstand those things. So no worries, bro. Same thing under the seat and your fuse box, all made to withstand water. I literally spray the crap out of my bike with a pressure washer sometimes, and a hose other times, and water definitely gets into everything. Ride safe and have a blast on your ride. So, John Anderson, thanks for the comment on the website, and I answered it on the website. Yeah, guys, don't worry about it if you are. I know a lot of people know that, but there are a lot that don't. And water getting down in your fairing, trust me, it gets down there. When you ride in the rain, it gets down there. And I've ridden in a lot of rain before, very, very heavy rains. In fact, our last summer trip. So don't worry about it. All the components down in there, not a big deal. It has moisture in there all the time. It's not going to ruin anything, so don't sweat it. Okay, guys, I appreciate it. And I have had the opportunity here to do a great interview with a gentleman named Daniel Gromm. Daniel Gromm is an expert in paintless dent removal and motorcycle Paintless Dent Removal. He's been doing it way back since 1993, as you'll hear. He is out of Northern California, out of Santa Rosa, California, and has a shop down there. And you guys, I think this is really going to be a good interview. I think you're going to learn a lot. I learned a ton. He has some very cool services as far as getting your tank or your fenders mailed to him. And there's a whole process. You can send him pictures. It's actually very, very easy. We go through it. We talk about him a little bit. And I'm hoping maybe when we're down in California this summer, if it crosses our path, I got to talk to LD and see if that's even a possibility to stop by his shop. But true expert in paintless dent removal. If you haven't heard of it, you really, and even if you have, you're going to learn so much more, because this guy has been doing it for a long time, and even has fabricated his own tools that he now sells for motorcycle paintless dent removal, and a special vise for motorcycle tanks and all kinds of stuff. But man, just a wealth of knowledge, this guy, and certainly educated me, and I hope you enjoy the interview. Let's do this thing. All right, so super stoked. I have on the line with me, of course, as I've explained, Daniel Gromm with Dent Dynamics. How you doing, Daniel?
I'm doing great.
Good. Hey, so a little bit about yourself. Apparently, you're from the Northern California area. Is that correct?
Yeah, I'm in Santa Rosa, which is about an hour north of San Francisco in wine country. Have a shop here. I've been doing paintless dent removal for 22 years. And I've actually have a retail shop since 1994. And in '07, I actually purchased my building, and I got one of the best detailers in Northern California to move in with me. And we've been doing paintless dent removal here for a long time.
Awesome. Now, I want to throw out there too, right away, because so the listeners know, this is Dent Dynamics out of Santa Rosa, California.
Correct.
Okay, and it's dentdynamics.net. I want to make sure that you guys know that. So not .com or .org, is that correct? It's dentdynamics.net.
That's correct.
Okay, and of course I'll link to it in our show notes. I got to ask you real quick, because it's like freezing down here, or up here in Washington. It's like 28 degrees right now. What's the weather doing to you down there?
It was
rub it in.
T-shirt weather today.
Oh my God, I got to move.
It's cold in the morning, but it warms up pretty quick in the afternoon. So it was pretty nice today.
Yeah, great. Yeah, rub it in.
Yep.
So you started in 1993, the way I understand it. You touched on that a little bit.
Yeah, I started with a $8,000 loan from my parents, and found some guys from Tennessee to train me, and I was really fortunate to get some really good training and got some good tools. And I went out my first day, made $100 my first day, and I vowed from that day on that I would never make less than that every day that I worked, and I've kept that promise, and has been successful in this industry for a long time. I got into designing tools early on in '94. There was nobody making tools back then, and I was running into cars and things that I couldn't get to the dents and didn't have the tools. And I found some guys in Arkansas to help me out and start manufacturing some tools for me. And I got a big client over in Japan who kind of funded me and kept me in operations as far as that goes. And then, of course, everybody else started getting into it. And I didn't really enjoy selling the tools. I enjoyed designing the tools. And so I got out of that part of it, but I stayed into designing tools. And that's where one of my passions is I love being creative and coming up with a new tool or something. That's what really turns me on. So
you're you fabricate stuff too, these tools. Is that how you do that?
I used to. Now I've partnered up with tool manufacturers. I license my designs with them, and I get a commission check for everything that's sold. It's it gives me the freedom of being able to keep designing stuff, but it also brings in income for me.
Yeah. Now, a man of many trades, because before we went to the interview here, we were BSing, and I'll tell you guys, make sure you go over to dentdynamics.net, your internet site, super professional. And I was talking to you, I'm like, whoever's doing that is doing a really good job. And then you said, you do it. Is that right? So you also design your website.
I have a graphics art guys that does all the graphics design and stuff. So I can't take all the credit. He does all the art design part of the website. And I have a second website, which is motorcycle paintless dent repair.com.
Oh, glad you mentioned that.
Yeah, and that's strictly for the motorcycle. So I have two websites, one dedicated to everything, and then the other one, the motorcycle one, is just dedicated to motorcycles.
Okay. Can you throw that out there once more? I'm going to take a note, that web address again.
Yeah, it's motorcycle paintless dent repair.com.
Great. I'll have that in the show notes too, guys. So now, are you the only one in Santa Rosa that works out of your shop, or do you have other guys that are doing this?
No, it's just me. I've had employees before. I decided I needed a while back. I needed to get more in touch with my customers and stuff. That I needed to be more involved, and so I got rid of everybody, and it makes things a lot simpler and easier and less stress.
Sure, totally understand that. Now, when did, as far as I know, when you started in paintless dent removal, do you have a timeline on when this all were you in the very beginnings of this stuff?
Fairly. I mean, 93 is pretty early, but it's interesting. I was just at one of our trade shows, and I ran into the godfather of paintless dent removal. This gentleman, his name's Lido. He was from Argentina, and he's the one that actually brought it to the U.S., and I got to chat with him, which was a big honor, because from that point it was all hearsay. I didn't know what was truth and what wasn't, and I actually got to hear the history. And he was basically a body man doing metal bumping with, when they led cars, the old style, and he just refined it into what paintless dent removal was. And he was flying up to Florida, and he would book out a month of cars, and people would line up to have him de-dent his cars. And then he started the largest franchise in the United States in paintless dent removal, called Dent Wizard. So he was the founder of Dent Wizard, and he got it all started. And he started back in the 60s. Okay.
And we still, which we're going to talk about in a little bit, is cool. There's not a paintless dent repair shop in every city.
Well, there's paintless dent removal techs in every city.
Oh, there is.
Yeah, but they're mostly gypsies in trucks. They mostly go to dealers and body shops. There's not a lot of retail locations around the country. But if you ever need a tech, the best thing to do is go to pdrnation.org, and they'll help you find a good tech in your area, or just call your local dealer and ask them who they use, who they recommend. They know all the good guys, and they'll give you a good recommendation.
Okay. Now, we've obviously most people, I honestly wasn't really 100% familiar with paintless dent removal. I've heard about it and stuff. Tell us a little bit about what, just in a nutshell, paintless dent removal. I mean, I know the name says it a little bit.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Basically, what we do, it's an art form. And what we do is we get behind the panel various ways, and we massage the dent out from the inside. And in doing this, we do not harm the OEM paint at all. And so we can take out door dings. We can take out actually large dents out of cars without affecting your paint, which helps you in your resale value. We don't report to Carfax or anything like that, because we are keeping your car original. So it's better for resale value, and nobody wants to get their car repainted, because you have to worry about Bondo and matching paint and whatnot.
Wow. So yeah, you don't have to report. I didn't even think about that to Carfax and all that. So there'll really be no history on the whether it's a motorcycle or a car that it was had body work done.
Correct.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow. Neat. So let's talk about our. I guess I get it kind of. If you guys get a chance, go to his website. Again, paintdynamics.net. It is very cool videos if you guys want to see it, but it's amazing how you guys can do that. And is it I guess it's the way you do it, or the paints are better these days because there's no chipping.
No, yeah, the paints are actually surprisingly flexible. But I actually work on vintage cars. I've worked on some pretty old original cars going back to the 50s. And have never cracked the paint on those. What we usually do is we put some kind of heat source on the paint if it's an older paint job, and that keeps the paint flexible and pliable, because paints do get brittle as they get older. So we've figured out techniques to get around that, basically.
Okay. Now, these tools are, like you say, you make some of them. These are pretty specialized tools. Is that fair to say?
Oh yeah. There's there's quite a few tool manufacturers out there now, and they're making some amazing tools now. From what I started with, they were pretty crude from the beginnings. Now they're laser cutted or water jetted out, and they've got ergonomic handles and ratcheting handles and things to make it more comfortable. As you've been doing this a long time, you get work injuries from repetitive motions and whatnot. So having an ergonomic handle really makes a big difference. My hammer now that I use for tapping down crowns in a dent and stuff is a carbon fiber, and it's pretty high tech now.
Yeah, and we're obviously a law-abiding biker podcast, and now we talk about PDR, and that's paintless dent removal, and then there's the motorcycle MPDR, the motorcycle paintless dent removal.
Yeah.
And on your website, excuse me, I just took it off your website, but it's the new frontier of PDR world and was once thought impossible to do. Can you touch on that a little bit?
Yeah, absolutely. So back in 06, 07, I saw the economy and where it was going, and I was like, okay, I got to come up with a new revenue source. I see what's happening here, so I was trying to prepare. And I used to have, my first shop was across the street from a Harley dealer, and I used to have tons of these guys come in wanting me to fix their tanks, and I'd say, no, it's the metal's too thick. And I always thought that was true. And I thought, you know what? There's got to be a way. So I got some old tanks from a Harley dealer, and I made a wooden jig, and I screwed this thing down onto a table where it didn't move. And I started working on it and realized that when it doesn't move, the metal felt thinner. So it's like trying to hit a moving target. If that tank is on the bike, what happens is it's mounted with rubber grommets. It's meant to vibrate with that engine. And that little bit of flex would hurt us trying to take that dent out. So by taking it off the tank and mounting to something firm and where it wouldn't move, made all the difference in the world. As soon as I figured that out, then the next part was coming up with some kind of jig that would hold the tank. And but there's, how many tanks are there? There's thousands and thousands of different tanks out there. So I ended up going to an engineer, and I told him what my problem was, and he helped me, and it took me about 2 years to develop, and I developed what I call the Gromm tank vise. And this thing is kind of like an erector set almost. It's extruded aluminum with tracks in it that you can slide bolts into, and it'll let me configure that thing into any shape I need it to hold any tank. I've worked on tanks, Harleys from the 20s all the way up to brand new tanks, sport bikes, no problem. Old motocross bikes. I've got guys that are restoring old motocross bikes, and now I'm getting a lot of 60s and 70s Hondas. You know, all your listeners out there, you know, they've got their Harley, but a lot of these guys are thinking, oh man, I wish I had my first bike. And I think that's what's happening. I think these guys are going out and they're finding, you know, their first motorcycle, and it was probably a Honda or Yamaha or something like that, and they're restoring them because they're cheap. You know, you can go out and buy one of those for hundreds of dollars, and, you know, they're just putting their labor into restoring it, and you know, to get part of their childhood back, I think. And so I get a lot of those tanks, and it doesn't matter. I've only been stumped once where I couldn't mount a tank, and it was a new BMW, and the tank, honestly, it was huge. It was a Dakar rally motorcycle, and this tank was just enormous. It was just too big to mount. But that's the only time I've ever been stumped and haven't been able to mount a tank to it. Or fenders. I can mount fenders as well.
Okay. Yeah, it's awesome. I saw a picture of that on your website, and you sell that vise now, right?
Yeah, I started selling it a couple years ago, and to other dent techs, and I'm trying to create a network of guys. I'm going to be certifying them, and then using my newest website that I'm going to be launching soon to be a hub. So guys will be able to come to me and be able to either find somebody locally or somebody closer by that is, you know, certified by me and can do the repair. But if for right now, I get tanks shipped to me from all over the United States right now. So it's pretty easy to, especially during the winter when you're not riding, take your tank off, send it to me, 3-day turnaround, and I send it back.
Yeah, that's a great segue into what I was going to talk about, which is actually, I'll go back a little bit. Daniel and I have never personally met each other, but we met, and maybe someday, actually this summer, we're our crew's riding down to California, so I'll talk to you about that after the show. Maybe stop by and meet you.
Love that. Yeah,
we're going to be down there for about 7 days. So, but you saw one of my YouTube videos, and I had a fender dent, and I wasn't aware of your services at the time, and so you kind of got a hold of me, and we've kind of been back and forth since then, which is really cool. And I don't have that fender to send you, and I wish I did. But I did the usual, turn it into insurance and, Harley, and I don't know how all the other, maybe you do all the other bike manufacturers work, but, Harley doesn't do body work. And so they just replace it. They don't, they want to get the original paint or whatever. Do you know how the other manufacturers are?
You know what? They're pretty much the same. They don't give out their paint codes. I don't know why. They're not like cars where sometimes getting paint codes and trying to match paints are really difficult to even repaint a bike. That's why most painters want to repaint the whole thing rather than trying to match it. They'll do something close and repaint everything. But yeah, they don't. They'd rather sell you a new part, obviously.
Yeah, and they're very good at selling stuff, that's for sure. Because I could have got by, a lot cheaper and wouldn't have had to turn into my insurance if I would have just sent that to you. But from now on, I will. And here, apparently, looking at your website here, let's talk about you guys and for the listening audience. Basically, I've got them written down here, but there are 5 steps, very easy steps. And I really encourage you, I know I will, if I get any dents, be sending it down your way. But there's some things they have to do. Do you have those in front of you, or you want me to read them off?
Well, I don't have them in front of me, but I think I know them.
Sure. The dent inquiry form, what's that about? Yeah,
basically basic information, so I can contact you. So it's just a simple form, so your name, phone numbers, and email. But information on your bike, what year, make, model, that kind of thing. Most importantly, whether it's fuel injected or not, especially with Harleys. Harleys are really my bread and butter of the motorcycle industry, and I do more Harleys than any other. And if it's fuel injected, they underneath that big chrome piece on the center of the tank, you take that off, and if it's fuel injected, it's going to have a large opening under there, and that gives me a lot of access. So it makes it almost guaranteed that I'm going to be able to repair the tank. And then the next thing is to send me photos, and this is something that's one of the reasons I'm rebuilding my website. Is guys send me photos of the dent, but they don't always do it right. You know, they've got the angle wrong, or they're too close. I need to see the dent, but I also need a picture a little bit further back, a couple feet back, so I can see where it's located on the tank in relation to any opening. So if it's a older tank and it just has a single gas opening, because I do need to access it from the inside. So I need to see in relation where the dent is in relation to the gas opening, and or the fuel, if it's fuel injected, where that is. And also if it's an older bike and it just has a regular round gas opening, I like to see inside. The tanks that I have the hardest time with are the 80s, early 90s. They put long fuel necks inside of them. And so those tanks are probably the most difficult tanks to do. And so I always like to see a picture of that, what that opening looks like. But it's a fuel injected, it's not a problem at all.
Okay. So, yeah, that's going to make it good for the future, since most of them are coming out fuel injected now, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. And I like to see the picture. I want to see if there's, any scrapes, any scratches, any damage to the paint at all. And, guys send me tanks just for, maybe they got a dent and they have damaged the paint and they're going to get a custom paint job. Well, they don't want a bunch of Bondo slapped onto the tank, so they'll want me to rough the dent out, knowing very well that they're going to sand it down and repaint it anyway. And so let guys know out there that, if they're going to repaint, I'll take the dent out so there's absolutely no Bondo on the tank at all.
Great. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, that's a very good info. So if a guy knows he's going to redo his tank anyways, but just doesn't want all that Bondo on there, you'll do that work for him too. Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Okay. And so I guess, guys, what we're getting at here and what Daniel's getting at is good detailed photos, so he really knows what he's working with before you send the tank.
Yeah, and then after I see the photos, I'll email you an estimate back, and then you just need to take the tank off and box it up and ship it to me. UPS has been really good. The only thing they have concern is that you air out the tank and make sure there's no gas fumes still. And that's their only concern. But they've been pretty good. I haven't had any problems with them. No damage in the tank. The only time I've ever had a problem is there's usually a tab off the back of the tank, and those have poked through boxes because people don't put a rag around it or some kind of padding or something like that. So that's a little good advice.
Very good. Yeah, I know exactly which tab you're talking about. That would go through a box pretty easy.
Yeah.
So yeah, just package it good, and then they UPS it directly. And you guys, all the listeners, I will have very good show notes, so you can go to this episode, of course, lawabidingbiker.com/ and then whichever episode number it is. And I'm going to have also, if you go to dentdynamics.net, I'm looking at your site now, Daniel, and it looks like, you just go to Motorcycle Dents tab at the very top of his page.
Yeah.
And all 5 of these all 5 of these steps, I guess we'll call them, are in there, and it's actually super easy. So,
and usually what happens is once I get the tank, sometimes it seems like I get a bunch at a time, and I just put them in order, and usually I tell guys, give me a 3-day turnaround time. That gives me plenty of time to get it. I try to get them out sooner than that, but by 3 days, I usually don't have a problem get them back in the mail. And I have, guys when you go to UPS, get a return shipping label. That speeds up the whole process. That way the UPS man comes by here and he picks it up for me and just expedites the shipping back to the customer faster. And then my office manager, Tony, she gives you a call, sends you photos of the after, make sure it's repaired to your satisfaction, and get your credit card info and then ship it back to you. And we have a guarantee that if you're not happy for any reason, we do not charge you. I want to make sure that everybody's very satisfied with my work.
Let's talk a little bit about the expo, the Tech Expo Dent Olympics that you. I kind of looked at your website, and I think it would be something kind of fun to touch on real quick. That was recently here in Florida, right?
Yeah. It was last week I went down there. It's once a year, and it's basically called the Mobile Tech Expo, and it's paintless dent removal guys, and there's paint touch-up guys and things that usually the auto dealers use on their lots to get their cars all fixed up. And we also hold the Dent Olympics, and it started a couple years ago. A friend of mine actually started it there, and it's grown and grown. Now it's kind of a big deal, and they actually make a air cannon to shoot this dent maker, and so all the dents are uniform and all the same, and it gives everybody a level playing field. And they've got 1 hour to do the repair. And it's not an easy dent. It's definitely a challenging dent, and there's probably at least 60 guys that compete in it, and it's just a way for us to kind of show off and see who's actually got the best talent.
Very fun. Now, apparently, this expo, you guys people from all over the world, this is like your yearly get together for this type of stuff.
Yeah, there's guys from Japan, Europe, Canada, South America. Yeah, people travel a long ways to come to this thing, and it's every year it gets bigger and better, and I'm hoping to someday introduce motorcycle into the Dent Olympics. So I'm seeing how I can achieve that. It might be a little bit tougher to do because the tanks are so small, and I'd have to get a lot of tanks to be able to do it. But I think it would be fun to be able to do.
Yeah. I was thinking of something. Now, I can imagine doing this. Now, you've got a guy with a motorcycle. My motorcycle has stock paint, but regardless of it has stock paint or not, I know there's a lot of guys that have custom paint jobs on their bikes.
Yeah.
Now, you want to talk about really expensive with a custom paint job, they basically, if they can't get you to do it, they've got to start from scratch. And so, have you had some of that? Tell me a story or something about that.
I had this guy that had a pretty elaborate job. I mean, it had dragons and just, I mean, it was crazy. He never really divulged how much money he had into this paint job, but it had to be in the thousands of dollars for this paint job because it was pretty elaborate. And he got a dent in it, and you can't fix that. It's not something that you can just do a little spot job on or anything like that. So, it's either me or he's screwed.
Right.
And I got that dent out, and I heard him when he got the tank, and he calls me back up, and I'm not lying. This guy was practically in tears. He was so happy that I had fixed his tank, and it was pretty funny to hear. I'm imagining, I never got to meet him, but a big biker guy, almost crying because I fixed a dent in his tank. But yeah, if you've got a custom paint job, or maybe you're trying to keep got a vintage Harley that you want to keep the paint original, you want to save that. I saved their bikes for them. I don't know how better to say it, but yeah, it's really satisfying. I love it when local guys come in. I had a guy bring me. He was restoring an old Mako motocross bike, and it was 70s. It was one of those coffin tanks, and it was aluminum. And if you got an aluminum tank, there is no option to fix aluminum. And he was restoring the whole bike, and it was in pretty bad shape. It was pitted and scratched up, and I was like asked him questions. What are you going to do with this thing? And he goes, well, I want to restore it. And I go, can I give it a brush finish when I'm done? And he said, yeah, sure, do whatever you want. If I don't like it, I'll redo it. And so that gave me the go-ahead, and I took the dent out, and then I sanded the whole thing down with the DA, and then I went over it with different grits of sandpaper, putting a grain back into it, giving it that brush finish. And it was so dramatic. And when he came in and saw it, and he almost fell over. He was just beside himself how good this tank looked. And it was really satisfying to me to see that spark in that guy's eyes. I've always loved motorcycles. I've had dirt bikes when I was a little kid, and so I have a love too for bikes, and it's really gratifying when you see these guys just light up and say, "Wow, you really did a nice job on that."
Yeah, there's a couple ways to make growing bikers cry. I'm sure that's one of them. Yeah. You fix their bike and they don't got to pay thousands and thousands of dollars. Yeah, in a new paint job. That's great. Okay, now, so mostly we're talking about, real quick, I just want to make sure that we get all of it out there to the listening audience, but mostly, obviously, metal. So fenders and tanks when we're talking about motorcycles, correct?
Yeah, and be honest, if you get a dent in your fender, if it's in front of the fork and in the top part of the fender, you can go to your local PDR guy to get that fixed. The fenders are thin metal. They're actually super easy to remove on the bike. It actually is almost an advantage sometimes because they can leverage off the tire. If you can't find a local guy, have them call me. I'll find them a local guy. I know a lot of techs around the country, and I can find them a tech. But fenders, if it's behind that fork or on the sides, then it might be worth sending to me. But if you got a front dent on the fender, then the local guy should be able to take care of them.
Okay. How about rear? On a rear fender, kind of the same deal?
Yeah. Don't get too many of them, to be honest. I think I've only done 2. It's always been the front. And, guys out there, the new biker, they put the gremlin bell in the wrong spot. Those are the toughest dents to do because they really crease the metal. They hit the first pothole and the forks compress but those are usually the newbies don't know where to put their gremlin bell. So be careful where you put your gremlin bell.
Yeah.
I've gotten a lot of those.
Well, good to know. Very good tip for you guys out there. Yeah, be careful of that. It's funny. All right, so yeah, I guess we got all the information where to send it. Now, obviously, we've talked about this. You do probably a lot of cars too.
Oh yeah, that's what I've been doing, since '93, and I specialize in vintage cars. Not a lot of dent guys like to do vintage cars, but if you go to my website or you looked at any of my YouTube videos, I have pictures of my shop. I'm into collecting, all the stuff you see on American Pickers and stuff. I've got old Coke machines and candy machines and stuff that I love restoring, and I've got all that kind of stuff in my shop. And if anybody's local or comes by, you'll get a kick out of what I have here and stuff. And my whole philosophy has been, in the 50s is when I think we really had a love affair with our cars, and I think we, as Americans, we've lost that a lot. And so by having a lot of this stuff around, I'm hoping that it brings back that romance of the love affair. When I was a kid, my parents named their cars, and we don't do that anymore. Now it's just a piece of transportation. And so I really like the nostalgic stuff. I've got I just got done restoring my first hot rod. I restored a 64 Impala station wagon that I made into a tiki surf wagon, and came out really nice. And so I love all that kind of stuff. So I'm really passionate about cars, about motorcycles, about what I do. I love what I do, and hopefully it shows with my work.
Yeah, and you're so right about naming cars. That dates me just a little bit, but yeah, we named our cars growing up too.
Yeah,
Thought about that in a long time.
Yeah. Do you name your motorcycle?
No, you know what? I don't name my motorcycle, and I should.
I should name your motorcycle, man.
Yep, now I got to. I'll have a name by the time we make our California trip. How about that?
Yeah, because it's your baby, right?
It is.
Yeah, so it's a family member.
Yep.
Come on, give it a name.
I love it. All right, and real quick, I just want to mention, for people in your local area, that we do have a huge base of California subscribers to this podcast. So
Cool.
Auto glass repair, you replace, and you also do tinting. Are you still doing all that?
We basically, my glass guy, he actually moved away. We still do the chip repair, but we're not doing so much. If a customer comes in for a full detail and they need their windshield, I can call one of the local repair guys that I really trust, and he can do the repair here. But mainly just the little stars that you get from a rock and stuff like that. We still do that. Tinting, yes. Anything cosmetic to do with the car, we pretty much do. We do brush touch up and whatnot. And on motorcycles, just to go back, like when people send me a motorcycle, one of the things I do is when I get the tank, usually you'll see a lot of wear from their jeans on their knees on that part of the tank, from rubbing, from riding, and it just looks a little dull. Maybe the tanks are a little bit older, it doesn't have that gloss. And when I have it on my tank vise, it's nice and sturdy. I can get around the whole tank. So one of the things I do is I polish out the whole tank, and then I put a fresh coat of wax on it. So when you get it back, it's like the garnish on the plate. It's just makes the whole job look that much better, and make that tank look brand new again.
Great. So guys, we've got the 5 steps and all that. So yeah, I definitely won't be doing that anymore. I'll be sending them down to you, and I hope I don't get any dents, actually, is the first key. But
yeah,
I have not had good luck lately, so the odds are against me. Before we get to your contact information, I want to make sure everybody knows how to contact you. Anything else that we missed that you really want to get out there to the law-abiding biker community?
The main thing is just letting these guys know that this technology exists and that I exist and that there is answers out there. And if they might have talked to a paintless dent removal guy and they've been told, oh, they're double lined. That's a myth. That's one I hear all the time. I've worked on hundreds of tanks. There's no such thing as a double lined tank. Sometimes they'll have a baffle, but they're attached to the bottom of the tank. They're usually never a problem. But if you've been told no, there's a reason why, is because they don't have my tools and my tank vise, and that makes all the difference in the world. And so even if you've been told no before, if you've been living with that dent, don't live with it. Give me a call, give me a shout out, send me a photo, and let's get you respectable on the road again.
That's so cool, because I know there's at least a couple listeners out there, and because that really hit me there. I know there's a couple listening out there going, oh my God, there's a way I can get this fixed finally. And like you say, the information, and even I didn't know a ton about it, and you've really educated me on it. And then of course I've done my own research too. So getting the word out there to the biker community that there are options out there. So. Yeah, right now there's a couple guys that have my tools, and there's a guy in Denver, and then there's a guy Mike Toledo down in San Diego. Those are the only two guys that I've seen their work, and I know they're doing a good job. Mike's actually helped me design part of the tank vise at one time, and he does really, really quality work. So if you got any guys down in San Diego, you can call Mike Toledo at Dent Time. Dent Time, okay. Yeah. Now, your contact information. Real quick, I'll just say again, guys, it's dentdynamics.net. Any other information you want to throw out there? I know you have a Facebook page and
and a YouTube page. I try to put a lot of different varieties of things out there, and I'm going to be doing more and more. But you can reach us by phone, 707-542-DENT, 542-3368, and or email me at dentdynamics@gmail.com, and those are the best ways to reach me. Or if you need to text me a photo, you can text me a photo at 707-332-4499.
Okay, and I'll have all that in the show notes. Guy, and his Facebook page is facebook.com/dentdynamics PDR, Paintless Dent Removal. So, and located, I want to make sure you're still located at 1945 Cleveland Avenue, Santa Rosa, California.
Yep.
Okay. Man, it's been great, and I appreciate you coming on the show. And like I say, hopefully we can meet you this summer. I got to talk to my ride planner and make sure that's even in our route. So
yeah, no, I totally appreciate it. My shop is right off the 101, so it should be, if you're going through California, you got to probably go past me.
We are going to hit the 101. I know that for a fact. So
yeah,
I think we're going to be close.
And if you're in the wine country, I mean, there's no better place to ride and go eat and drink. I mean, the restaurants here are fantastic. So yeah, do yourself a favor and treat yourself.
Yeah, we will. 7 days. So we should have a ball down there. Well, again, Daniel, thank you so very much, and I'll make sure and put all this in the show notes and stuff. And I actually will, you guys, I'm going to make a link. So just lawabidingbiker.com/dentdynamics. And I'll just make that link. And if you want to find out anything about the show or look further into Daniel's shop and his services, get your stuff to him and let him know that you heard it on the Law Abiding Biker podcast. So, yeah, thank you so much, Daniel.
Hey, thank you, Ryan.
All right, guys. Well, I hope you really enjoyed that interview. Hope you learned a lot. Thanks for checking back in. I will have all the show notes in lawabidingbiker.com / and whatever episode number this is. Also, I'm going to make a permanent link so you can always go back to this if you want, and that is lawabidingbiker.com / dentdynamics. So if you want to refer anybody, do please make sure, if you guys use this service or you recommend it, he's a big supporter of this show, and I appreciate that so much. Make sure you tell him that Law Abiding Biker Podcast sent you, and that you referred by Law Abiding Biker Media, something along that lines. That would really help us out for future relationships with them. And super good people. So yeah. Oh, don't forget about the front fairing speaker video on removing those, and the outer fairing video, and also the new for purchase boom box software update video. Got so much coming at you this year, guys, and thanks for the donations. Keep them coming. Rate us on iTunes, rate us on Stitcher, and anywhere else. Thank you so much, and we will catch you on the next one, guys. Peace out. Keep the rubber side down and the shiny side up.